Today is July 20th, year 1969. America encountered its greatest accomplishment. Neil Armstrong ended the space race by becoming the first man to land on the moon. But what if America's greatest accomplishment is really just the world's most elaborate hoax?
The exploration of space will go ahead, whether we join in it or not. We mean to be a part of it. We mean to lead it. For the eyes of the world now look into space, to the moon, and to the planets beyond.
As World War II reached a close in the mid-20th century, a new conflict arose, the Cold War. Pitted against each other, the two major powers of Soviet Russia and capitalist America fought for superiority in many arenas, including space.
Desperate to beat the Russians in the space race, conspiracies suggest that the U.S. government faked the lunar landings with a secret film set, located either high in the Hollywood Hills or deep within Area 51. These conspiracies point out that with the photos and videos of the Apollo missions only available through NASA, there's no independent verification that the lunar landings were anything but a hoax.
Completely happened. No, I don't believe it was done on some studio in Hollywood on a back lot with a faux faked moon landing. Too many people have gone to the moon. We all watched it take place. We watched the rockets go up. We saw the men go into the space capsules. We followed them. Not just us, our adversaries, the Soviet Union, around the world, where it's the most, until Game of Thrones, right? It was the most watched television event in the world. We watched them all come down. We watched Neil Armstrong come down that ladder, and say those words. He flubbed that line, by the way.
Hand on the cart like this, and whoopsie! Down she goes, Bubbles. And then somebody comes and picks her up later.
However, Game of Thrones was shot in a film studio, and many theorists suggest that the same goes for the moon landing. Due to many photographic inconsistencies in technology, it is believed that the set could have been easily recreated by NASA. For example, filmmaker Stanley Kubrick may have helped NASA fake the first lunar landing, given that his 1968 film, 2001: A Space Odyssey, proves that the technology existed back then to artificially create a space-like set.
This is an example of a man who is approximately 200 pounds. This is an example of a rover with a man approximately 700 pounds. Supposedly, on the moon, a 200-pound man left clear footprints as seen in this photo. If this is the case, a 700-pound rover should leave clear tracks. However, the rover left the surface untouched with no trace. If that seems suspicious, let's take a look at 25,000 tons of thrust. Ella?
As you can see, the inconsistencies are extreme. The moonlander, holding 25,000 tons of thrust, did not leave a crater nor any sign of impact upon the moon's surface. With this being the case, why would a 200-pound man leave such significant tracks? The footprint itself holds its own conspiracy. Neil Armstrong's astronaut suit can be found in the National Space Museum. This is the shoe of Neil Armstrong's suit, in great contrast to the alleged footprint on the moon. Clearly, Taylor, the two are not a match.
The footprint is not the only inconsistency seen in the documentation. The various photos allegedly taken by the astronauts provide cause for numerous suspicions. Most popular are the photos of the landing, the flag, the famous sea rock. As earlier stated, the landing, however, left no crater. But before its landing, this photo was somehow taken. But who could have possibly taken such photo?
American one, totally real. I'm about to spill the tea. Here's the flag. Some people say, how could it be real? There's no air on the moon. Why is it blowing? Well, you can clearly see in this picture, there's a rod at the top of the flag holding it outright. So we can see it because go America, right, Mr. Weiss? You can also see, some people say, well, why is there a shadow back here and a shadow going that way? It's because they were using different light sources from their little rover things. So the light was coming from different directions, so you get different shadows. Also, you can tell that they're on the moon because it looks like the moon. And he's wearing a spacesuit. Why else would you wear a spacesuit if you're not in space? Duh.
The blowing flag is significant, for there is no atmosphere on the moon and therefore no wind. While NASA claims the ripples are only a result of a wire upholding the flag, it seems unlikely that this would create a blowing effect.
I mean, clearly it was a fake, right? I have to say that because I'm a science teacher, right? Science, whatever that means. But how could we have gone to the moon in 1960? I mean, you have more computing power in this phone than we had in 1969, and somehow we got to the moon and back? No way. It's totally fake. It's got to be fake. But I can't say that. Like, don't quote me on this, right? Like, you're not recording that right now, right? Your phone's off?
In addition to these inconsistencies, the shadow and the stars are not properly aligned in the photographs. While the photos mysteriously lack stars, the few with constellations are incorrectly located.
Good morning, boys, and welcome to our moon landing episode. Today we're going to talk about the video of the astronaut supposedly landing on the moon. In this video, it doesn't really make any sense. Why is he just going straight up and down, not moving around anywhere? Why is he just being pulled up, not actually jumping? It makes it look as if he's just bouncing on a trampoline or being pulled up by some kind of pulley system.
What the hell kind of bullshit?
However, possibly the most suspicious aspect of this case involves the astronauts themselves. Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, was withheld from all interviews and television. Is it not strange that the first man to walk on the moon wasn't interviewed or able to share his story? Armstrong, along with the other moon landing astronauts, were withheld from the public, and in a few public speaking sessions, they showed the most common signs of lying, including looking down and to the side while answering serious questions.
I think that at the time of the alleged moon landing, we were in a spot with Russia in the space race where it would have just been very easy for us to stage such a large thing like this. And also there's just this very large misconception that Russia went to the moon, but they never actually did. And I think the idea that America would have just gone to the moon in the 60s and then never go back ever again is really strange. It's part of human nature that we want to explore and know everything you can about these scientific topics, and just to never go back ever again is really weird. Also, finally, there was an instance where they went to all three astronauts that were on board the alleged mission, and all three of them refused to say the oath on the Bible. They asked them if they went to the moon, and they refused to say that they did, putting their hand on the Bible, which I think is really sketchy, considering that that's just a thing that we do in all of our court systems and everything. So yeah, I think it was definitely faked.
Despite the fact that they went numerous times in the 1960s, it's still suspicious that they have not gone back in the last 50-somewhat years. 7 of the moon landing astronauts, including Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, not only avoided interviews, but refused to swear on the Bible that they landed on the moon. Buzz even punched a reporter in the face. Take a look.
Why don't you just put the end to the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Seibel, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself. Away from me. You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
This much. All the girls stomp your feet like this.
These astronauts likely felt the extreme burden of such a lie, leading to denial, hate, and isolation. Buzz Aldrin, at age 88, could no longer handle the pressure. Some state that his comments were loopy acts of dementia, however, his statements do not lie.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
Why don't you quote me and say it's bullshit?
They were fake. We did them at Roswell. Smoke, mirrors, dry ice. I mean, I only know Apollo 8. And so I don't know whether Neil and Buzz actually pulled it off. It looked to me like they did.
So what do you think?
Is it possible the moon landing was faked, or could these inconsistencies point to something else?
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
It was real or staged?
I know it was real.
Okay, goodbye. Yo, this is the worst road to bike on, dude. How do you say theorists?
Theorists.
Theorists? That's right?
Yep. I think so.
Jeez.
No parking.
Absolutely. Why do you believe that the moon landing is fake?
Because moon doesn't exist.
I thought he was gonna walk. Literally bike somewhere out there! Bike trails!
The moon landing real or fake?
I think it's fake. Because if you look at it like that, there's no shadow. There's like a shadow.
Because the sun's in a different spot! Where on the Bible that way?
Good morning, everybody. If you haven't yet, like this video and subscribe below. Do you believe that the moon landing was real or was it staged?
I believe that it was real.
Alright, this might take me a few run-throughs.
Is the moon landing real?
Of course the moon landing is real.
Yo, it's really nice out here though. I don't know if you can see it. Really nice. I look like shit though.
That they landed on the moon. Shit.
Making it look like they're being pulled up by a pulley system. Bro, what the?
I went to the Googles and typed in moon landing, and this picture popped up.